Get up there and talk about that because there's stories behind the stories behind the stories when we start talking about those things. But you know, first before we get started, I mean, we're just regular guys. We're regular guys who were extremely blessed. I know everybody out there is going, how did those cornbread eating rednecks get a freaking show? I mean, it's not. But we were just really blessed. I mean, I don't know. We think this might have something to do with it, but we don't know. But anyways, you know, we're just blessed to let America watch us every week, you know, on television, do something that's such a passion to us. And we always say, hey, if this thing ends tomorrow and we're not on TV any other time, we've met some awesome people. And we got to go places that we normally would never get to go into because, you know, Syfy's got a little pool. They can get us in places that we normally couldn't. And, but anyways, we're just going to kind of kick it off, maybe talk about some questions, and then we're going to end it the same way we always end it, and that's with Keith taking us out with music. That's one thing we always did every week on the show. They only showed a little snippet of it, but that's just our tradition. That's how we always take out any investigation. When it's just us three on an investigation, that's how we take it out, is at the end of the night, Keith just rocks us out with a little music, we relax and whine, talk about the investigation, what went on that night and stuff. So. But anyways, and then, you know, of course, we're going to have a Q&A. Anybody have questions questions we can answer, you know, that we don't address. So, I'm going to crank it off.
It is Maestro.
I'm a little long-winded. And, and Keith's a little light-winded.
He's a jibber-jabber.
The number one question we get, we've already got asked several times a day, again, how did this come about? How did you guys get a television show? And it's really you always hear people like in a nightclub and they're playing music up there and you're like, you know, the next day they're famous and they're on the radio and people's like, man, what happened? You're like, man, I was just in a nightclub playing, somebody gave me their card, next thing I know, I got a song on the radio. Same thing. I mean, we get this email one day, and if anybody has groups and stuff, you know, you'll get stuff like, you know, hey, would you like to be on our television show? Would you like to be on our radio show? And 9 times out of 10, especially, you know, they're just trying to get in places or trying to get a contact or something. So we get this email one day, and it's from this guy. He goes, hey, would you guys be interested in doing a television show on Syfy? You know, I'm very skeptical. I mean, I was like, yeah, right, this is freaking ridiculous. Well, Benny's like, he calls me up and he's like, I don't know, man, what do you think? And I was like, shit, I ain't doing it. Shit on that, that's crazy, I ain't doing it. So Benny and Keith actually get together on a Sunday and they call this guy and do this Skype interview. Benny calls me and goes, dude, this might be legit. You know, and I'm still like, bullshit, that ain't legit, this is bull. You know, I ain't thinking nothing about it. Well, about a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, we get this email again, and they're like, hey, would y'all mind coming down to New Orleans and film what they call a sizzle? You know, we're like, a sizzle? What's a sizzle? You know, is it like bacon's the only thing we know with sizzle in it, you know? And so it's like, what's a sizzle? And they're like, well, we've narrowed it down between your group and one other group, and we want to bring you both down, and we want to put you on camera and do a casting show. And then we're going to present it to Syfy and let them choose which one they want. You know, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, this is legit. You know, and they didn't see me. They don't even know. They don't know what I look like. It's probably a good thing. We probably came real quick if they saw me.
I didn't believe it at first because Benny, being the joker he is, growing up with him for about 30 years now, calls me up on the phone, tells me I think it's just another prank. So he's like, come on out and have a barbecue with me this afternoon. And I'll show you that. They said that the beard might be a good look for it too, with the ZZ Top look. So then I just knew he was making it up. So I said, I come eat with you, boy, but I ain't buying that for a minute. I ain't biting.
So I mean, it's still a wonder we even up here because we just tried to push it away so many times, you know. And as soon as we even got down, and we're like, okay, do we do this? We're like, all that's going to cost us. At the end, they were going to rent us a car to come down, you know. And then they like, we can't rent a car because you have to be there to rent it. And we're like, this is a scam. This is a scam. So we're like, we talk it over. We're like, well, it's going to cost us a day of work and a rental car price. And we got to take a shot. If you don't ever step over that ledge, you know, you're never going to know. So we get down there, and the first thing I do is grab the guy, and I'm like, come here. And I was like, you don't know me? Come here. And he's like, what? And I was like, why us? Look, really, why us? You know, and he goes, what do you do for a living? And I was like, I'm an HR guy. He goes, you work at a desk, don't you? I said, yeah. He goes, you wear a tie, don't you? I said, yeah. He goes, what's Benny do? And I was like, he works in a manufacturing government facility. He does tests on electronics. He goes, what's Keith do? He's a musician. He goes, you got a white collar, blue collar, and a musician. He goes, do you are like gold for reality TV? You know, it was like, and then all of a sudden it was like this is real. Oh my God. And even still, we go out to the shoot and we drive up out there. And I told Ben, I was like, watch, it's going to be like somebody with a Sony camcorder, you know, and like a duct tape thing on a boom, you know, and we like drive up and it's like 22 people out there. And as soon as that happened, we're like, I was like, oh God, this is real. You know, then the nerves start kicking in and stuff. But still, that's we get down there real quick. I know I'm going on again, but we get down there real quick, and we see that it's Randy Hardy and Kevin Betzer, a group called Down South Paranormal, and we're like, we know these guys. Now we had never investigated with them, but we knew them because the paranormal. What am I trying to say? Paranormal family in the U.S., they're tight. So if we needed to go somewhere, we don't want to go down there blindly. A lot of times we're more worried about the safety of the area we're going to investigate in. We're not worried about actually doing, you know, the ghost or something like that. So we reached out to them. We said, hey guys, we want y'all to help us. We're going to come down to New Orleans in that area. Why don't you give us some advice? Kind of struck up a conversation with them. As you can see on TV, they're very unique guys, you know. We swore them down. Kevin Betzer was from New York. I mean, there's no way, you know. I mean, he's like, you know, what's going on, guys? He's like, dude, where are you from? You're not from New Orleans. But no, he's born and raised downtown, you know. So anyways, we see it's them. And this is the funniest thing. We walk up, we roll up there, and they see us walking up, and they knew at the time it was just Kevin, Randy, and they had this really cute little girl on their team. And Hart kind of come into the picture because he had investigated with Randy before, but he wasn't part of Down South Paranormal. So we ride up there and we come walking up, and I look over and I'm like, oh shit, they got a cute girl. Dude, we're done. We ain't got a chance. Why are we down here? Well, they got a cute girl. We find out afterwards, after we're filming, Randy and Kevin looks over and sees Keith like, oh shit, they got a beard. We're done. We're out. So we're both like, so what does Randy Hardy do? Randy Hardy, Mr. Conniving, he gets on the phone. Brother, I need your help. Calls his brother. We need you magic. Next thing we know, they keep us apart now. We say, hey, how you doing? We talk a little bit. But while we're out filming our part, they're back at the base or whatever, we would come in, then they would go do their part. Well, while we're out, we come in, they're like dinner time. So we come in, and there's Randy's brother with his giant big kettle full of homemade jambalaya in the middle of the woods. And we was like, well, here we go. They done got dirty now, you know. So I was like, maybe it'll suck. Please suck. So we go over there and we get this big bowl. We're like, we're done. We're out. It's been fun, y'all. Y'all have a good time. This is it. But again, and then 2 weeks later, we get a call from our base productions, and they're like, hey guys, Syfy watched the sizzle. And they said, wow, these guys are in California. They have no idea about Southerners. Some of the shit that they wanted us to do, we're like, we don't do that. That's ridiculous, you know. But they saw it and they went, we had no idea Southerners from Alabama was so different than Southerners from Louisiana. And they said, they literally, our producer said, they watched it with their mouth open and they were like, stick them together. So they put us together and we made one team, and that started Dixie Ghost Paranormal. So that's kind of how the whole thing got started. I'm letting Benny talk now. Sorry. What about another question we get asked a lot? Feelings on the first shoot. Again, new coming into this stuff. What was our impression coming in as new people, never doing this before? What was your first impression when we decided to start filming?
First impression, holy shit, what have we got ourselves into? We rolled up, they got us out to this old abandoned sawmill, and we did our research on it. It's a cool place, we're excited, and we hadn't really investigated with Randy and his team and stuff, and we get out there and they tell us, first thing, don't stare into the camera. What's the first thing you're going to do when they tell you don't do it? Blue, right there, you right there in that camera. Yeah. for about 10 minutes, and I mean, we started clicking. And after the first, about an hour or two, all the camera crew and everybody just stopped. And they started applauding after we got done with the scene. They're going, I cannot believe y'all have never been on TV before. Y'all work so good together. Y'all got to click. And
we may look stupid, but we're really not. It's like we know what we're doing. It's like, if you'll let us do what we know how to do, we'll give you a show. You know, don't start having us freaking do stupid stuff. You know, let us do what we do.
And that was one of the things that they stepped back and they said, we could never write what y'all just did. You know, there is no way. We're like, well, of course not. You know, we're country cornbread and horsemen here, you know. We're not from the South. Y'all from out there in LA, y'all don't know nothing about this. Let us do what we do. And that's the one thing we take pride about our show is what you see on the show, that's us. That's who we are. Whether we get to the next season or not, we're going to be the same way. But the first episode, it was crazy. I mean, we're out fishing and come on, fishing and ghost hunting. What the heck, you know? But we had a good time and we sold it. I mean, it was awesome, man. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better crew. I mean, from the cast to the camera guys to the audio guys, awesome. Everybody worked good together. Usually you'll have somebody that, well, the camera guy, he don't get along with this guy, but we didn't have it. We was all almost like a family. And matter of fact, I got a text a while ago from one of the camera guys asking how it's going. I mean, we're still keeping touch, and you got to have bonds like that. And one of the things I preach a lot about paranormal groups, you got to have something called trust. If you don't have the trust with each other, you really ain't got a paranormal group. Because you got to believe, if he tells me he heard something, I've got to believe him. You know, I've got to stand behind him. And if he's going to sit there and lie to me, I don't need him on my group. Because we're out to find out the reason why things are happening. We not here BS. And, you know, we have a good time. And you got to have a good time. But we're out here for a purpose. And we're here to find reasons and help people with all these situations. So I think that was a good episode and stuff.
Another one we got. Why not? I don't need a microphone. Ain't that weird? I mean, I'm